War Within Season 1 tier set bonuses for all 13 classes data mined in beta launch build. Oh, let's fucking go. All right, chat. Do they have all of them? They do. Oh my god. What a fucking day. I didn't think there was going to be any content today. What a day. All right, Blood Decay. Tier set bonus for Nerebar Palace. While you have one or more bone shield charges, the damage you take is reduced by 2%. So the two pieces, you take 2% less damage while you are playing the game correctly. He's having a good time. Okay, so 2% passive DR. Losing a bone shield charge has a chance to reduce the damage you take by an additional 1%, up to 3% for 6 seconds. Okay, so if you guys haven't tuned into DK stuff since the expansion, there's a lot of extra bone stuff on DK. There's not a fucking bone build. Someone in chat said bone build. That's not a real thing. There's not bone build. But they made Bone Storm way better. It now doesn't take runic power. It takes bone shield charges. You generate more bone shield charges, and also you get a passive for free that gives you a bone shield charge every single time you would grip something. So if you single grip something, that's a charge of bone shield. If you A-bombs limb, it's going to continue to generate bone shield like it used to. They nerfed it and then changed it back. And if you mass grip, like a pack of enemies, you can go from 0 to 12 bone shield instantly, just by doing that. So you're going to be generating a lot more bone shield, and you have more ways to consume it, both obviously still by getting hit and also through new Bone Storm, which looks really, really good. So this is going to be like more gameplay than passive than it used to be, but I feel like you're not really going to think about this. You're just going to have less DR. Or more. Also, I'm just trying to think. Let's just average this out. Let's just say at all times you're taking 4% reduced damage. I think for a tank 2-piece, that's actually pretty weak. Like, that sounds strong, but tank tier is so polarizing. I wonder if that's something they're looking to nerf in this expansion. We'd have to see the rest of the tier bonuses. I wonder if they're still going to have tank tier be so powerful. Like, tank tier was so insane this expansion that until Vengeance Demon Hunter in with double sigils, I forget which season that was. Was that 3 when they gave them that? There wasn't, like, tanks were almost determined by who, like, got strong or weak tier in a patch. Like, when you guys as DPS are like, oh, we have good tier, that's like 15% increased tier. Maybe even a little less than that is good tier. Bro, tanks, it's weird to kind of give a total value for tanks because, like, how do you value defensiveness exactly versus just pure throughput? But if you were going to try to make up a number, like, good tier bonuses can be something, for a tank, can be like 40%. They can be like 60%. Like, they can increase your damage by a lot, but they can also make you significantly tankier. So, like, it can swing class balance a lot with tier alone, which is not true with DPS. Guys, we're not doing bone build. Also, Ella is not in cone build. She's just recovering from surgery. Please do not disrespect her. Okay, so the 4-piece for Blood Decay is your damage is increased by 1% per active bone shield charge. Taking damage while below 6 bone shield charges has a chance to generate 1 to 2 bone shield charges. Interesting. Okay, so the first part is really bad. This is a really bad bonus, by the way. This is like 12 per giving a tier 7 bonus, giving you 12% damage like in perfect scenario is like really weak for a tank at the end. Just especially because it's just giving you 0 defensive value. Well, we'll see. Again, it's possible that all of the tier bonuses in the expansion, they're actually taking the defensive value out of them a lot. That would be smart. We don't know that until we read the other ones, but the other part is really good. I could see, in fact, I would almost bet that the second sentence of the 4-piece might be something that Blood Decays are really, really asking for the class to be baked into the class. Because it just sounds like the quality of life of that would be really, really good. Mainly because pressing Marrow Rend is really boring. And also, should probably talk about how pressing Marrow Rend does hilariously no damage. But, you know, that'll probably help with that a bit. The second part adds to the bone build. You guys are making me mad. All good. All good. Okay, so Frost Decay. Your runic power spending abilities deal 8% increased damage. Okay, so the main thing that you see when you read this is Breath, right? That is a runic power spending ability. If you guys have not kept up with the alpha, Breath is going to be like capped at like 30 seconds now, or a little bit longer, like 40 seconds. Like the days of infinite breath are kind of gone. I don't want to say forever because people will kind of always find a way, but like it's looking extremely not likely to be able to keep up breath forever, which I think is a bit better design. Like, I think having breath not feel so bad when you're out of it, and it just being a really strong 2-minute cooldown, right, for 30 seconds and being fun to play with, right, is good. The issue with old breath is like it was balanced around being up all the time. So when you didn't have it, you just felt horrible. Yeah, I don't know. But whatever. Either way, this will probably be decent for that. But because it's not up all the time now, this isn't just like a straight up 8% increase like it would be right now. And then consuming runic power has a chance to increase your strength by 10%. I'm noticing a trend here. Does anyone else look at Unholy? Your minions deal 8% increase when you summon a minion, your haste increased by 2 up to 8. Dude, this is like, these seem like season 1 Dragonflight bonuses, where they were like, yo, we're going to make really, really boring tier. But I'm confused why we would be doing that now. So at the beginning of Dragonflight, they said the reason we're doing really boring tier bonuses is to give people, like, there's so much changing in the game right now. The class and spec trees are so new, and we need time to, like, figure that out. But hero talents are nothing compared to that. Hero talents are 10% of an undertaking as class and spec trees are. It's fucking nothing. So I don't see why that would have to be the case at all. Really interesting. Okay, I hope I do an interview sometime soon. I would love to ask the reasoning of why. I mean, let's keep going and see if that actually ends up being the case, but it's an interesting observation, I think. This is basic as fuck. Same thing. We already read the Unholy one. Don't even have to get super into it. What is it, Max? It's so you don't get forced into one hero talent tree in the first tier. Well, I mean, you'd have to keep that in mind all the time. You could also just make that argument for talents all the time. But you're right. Some hero talent trees do incentivize a certain build or gameplay within your spec tree. So, like, doing a tier set bonus that lends into one of those and not the other would be bad for sure. But there's a million ways to make these more interesting, like season 2 and 3 bonuses, and still not do that, right? So it's not hard to do. Okay, anyways, Havoc. Blade Dance deals 20% increased damage. Chaos Strike deals 20% increased damage and has a 25% chance to reset the cooldown on Blade Dance. Oh, that sounds pretty fun. For a basic tier piece, that's actually sick. I think that is, like, again, if you're looking for, like, some crazy, like, guys, the current Havoc 2 and 4 piece are so sick. But, like, you know, if you're looking for it to compare to that, if you are going into what it looks like, let me read through a couple more of these. Yeah. If you are going into these tier bonuses expecting to be wowed by a tier bonus, you're setting yourself up for failure. They're clearly design-wise, each class going for a more basic thing. Dude, I think getting Blade Dance resets would feel pretty good. Dude, I don't know how Havoc's ever going to feel. One thing about current Havoc is having your throw glaives happen when you press Blade Dance feels really good. And the Hunt CDR feels really good. And only one of the hero talent trees has that. And none of them have the throw glaive happens when you press Blade Dance. I'm interested to see how that plays. Okay, Demon Hunter Vengeance tier piece. Soul Cleave deals 15% increased damage and has a 35% chance to shatter one lesser soul fragment from a target it hits. Okay. Consuming a soul fragment increases the damage and healing of your next fell dev by 2% up to 30. Yep, super basic. Not great. Okay, Druid. I bet if your class is getting a rework, you have a simple tier set. I think since the last time tier sets were created, which was Season 3 of Dragonflight, I think for how loosely people are using the term rework, I think every single class and spec in the game will be getting a rework, or has gotten a rework since then to when the expansion goes live. Shamans and Hunters in the next 2 or 3 months before it comes out, they're like the next class in line, right? And I think every other class, I believe every single one, and I think every single spec has been, because again, rework, when I think of rework, I think of Shadow Priests not having Shadow Orbs anymore, right? That's what I think of rework, like a fucking rework. But people are calling, like, 30 lines of text of, like, moving spec tree talents around and baking some stuff in and giving you some new talents is that's not, in my mind, that's not a rework, but that's what people are calling them. And if you are calling that a rework, I think, yeah, every single spec in the game will get a rework in between the last time tier sets were made and the expansion. Druid tier set bonuses. Balanced Druid. Star Search damage increased. Starfall damage increased. Lunar Eclipse and Solar Eclipse each increase the astral power Wrath generates by 1 and Starfire by 2. That is fucking hype. Basic as fuck. Makes sense. That's just tuning. No, tuning is like Star Surge does 5% more damage. Your class is being aura nerfed by 3%. That's tuning. Definitely giving you like 5 new talents, giving you 5 new spec tree points to play with, and like retuning and remaking a lot of your talents in your tree and moving them around is definitely more than just tuning your class. Yeah. We just need a word for it. It's just not. It's definitely not rework, and that's what people are calling it, and it's definitely not tuning. It's something in between. Your class is getting slurped. That's what it is. Your class is just getting a little slurp, and then when that happens, that's when you know. All right, Druid Feral. New coat of paint. Nope, just a little slurp. That's all. Tiger's Fury increases your crit chance to critically strike for 10 seconds, starting at 6% and increasing by 1 every 2 seconds. Okay, so Tiger Fury better. Critical strikes with your combo. I wonder who's gonna have the most interesting one of these. Critical strikes with your combo point generating abilities increase the direct damage of your next ferocious bite and rampant ferocity or primal wrath. What the fuck is rampant ferocity? Is that what they called massive attack? That's the new AoE spender? Oh, okay. Dude, rip massive attack as a name. Thrash and Moonfire in... okay, but I didn't really give it an opinion. I don't play Feral. I don't know, man. These are all boring. Thrash and Moonfire increase your damage done and reduce damage you take by 1% for 8 seconds, stack up to 3 times. Okay, 2-piece, 3% dam done and dam reduction. Guardian Druid 4-piece. Arcane damage you deal is increased by 5% and bleed damage you deal is increased by 5%. Okay, I am now officially convinced that what that chatter said earlier, in Twitch chat, by the way, not YouTube chat, what that chatter said earlier is correct. I was thinking it would be a little bit more nuanced than that, but they said that they wanted to make you not pick between different, like, hero talent trees. That is the most obvious thing happening here. Let me give you guys an idea here of what Guardian Druid hero talent choices are. You ready? We have Druid of the Claw, which is all bleed based. And then we have Elun's Chosen, which is all arcane based. Let's read their tier again. Thrash and Moonfire increase your damage done, reduce your damage done. Arcane damage you deal is increased by 5% and bleed damage is increased by 5%. This is as if they had a 3-hour brainstorm and that was the goal of all of this. And they were trying to make them a little bit more nuanced than that. And then Guardian was just the last one they did of that day. Everyone was tired. Their lunch was already in the room that they ordered. And they were like, Arcane by 5, bleed by 5. That works for both builds. And then they moved on. And they did this in 10 seconds. Whoever said that earlier in chat, I think you're exactly right. Regrowth, Wild Growth, and Swiftman healing increased by 10%. Your healing is increased by 8% when consuming Soul of the Forest bonus. Fuck yeah. Wait, actually, that sounds a little bit more gameplay oriented, right? What's Soul of the Forest? I actually don't know what that means. At least it's like a little small healing window. 8%'s a small number, but the Swiftmen, it's from after the Swiftmen buff. So like after you Swiftmen, you'll do 8% increase more. I mean, it's on the like cooler side of these bonuses, right? There's like some thought involved. Okay, still bad. All right, I'm mad. You know what? Let's just all get mad at these. I'm down to get mad, actually. Okay, Og 2-piece. Well, I'm mad. I'm mad now. Upheaval deals 30% increased damage and increases the damage of your next 2 eruption casts by 30%. What? Oh, personal damage, though. That's good. Og getting personal damage is a huge W. We like that. Philosophy-wise. Og 4-piece. You know what? I'm just mad because we're talking about Og. I'm mad. And I'm mad. Ebon Might increases primary stats by an additional 0.4% of your own every 2 seconds it remains active. Okay, so extremely basic, and also that is the opposite of what we were applauding the 2-piece for. Okay, I don't know why they wrote this 3 times. That's lazy. Come on, Wowhead. Disintegrate damage increased and pyre damage by 10. Holy fuck, dude, these are more basic than Dragonfight Season 1. Ooh, Eternity Surge's cooldown is increased by 5 seconds, and it now grants Essence Burst. Okay, that's a little different. I wonder... So first thing I think of is Dragon Rage extension, but you can't even... They made Dragon Rage cap, right? At a certain extension now. That's kind of fun. It's good for Scale Commander more than Flame Shaper. Yeah, which is interesting because the 2-piece is like obviously going into both, but that's fine. Okay. 2-piece. Reversion and Emerald Blossom heal an injured ally within 30 yards for 10% of any amount healed. So 10% healing on Reversion and Emerald Blossom, but also a Smart Healed on someone who's low with 10% of the healing of these 2 spells. Maybe that could be good for a certain build or something. Who knows? That's further range than they have. That's not true, right? Isn't Prez 30 yards? Which, that could be a topic of an entire other discussion. We've done an expansion with this so far. I'm not going to do a whole thing on this now, but I think the whole, like, smaller range... at least for healers, should be changed. I can actually give you firsthand experience where we were trying to create healer comps for the most recent raid, and we thought preservation would be really good for a few fights, but a few of the hard fights were actually just people are too spread out. It wasn't like we could try to, it was like, you can't play this. Like in world first progression, we could not have played preservation on these fights because of the range thing. I just think, like, what are we trying to do here, you know? Like, I don't know. I just think the whole range restriction for healers is, it's too much of a cook. I don't think it works. Okay, Verdant Embrace increases the healing of your next reversion by 200%. See, okay, stuff like this, it's basic, but I like it, you know? The thing is like, who do you really want a 200% reversion on? The tank, I guess? But, like, also, if you read that as your 4-piece, you're probably like, what is even going on here? Guys, I want you to tell me, what do you guys think the chances are that it's a vibe check as a Prez Evoker? Let me read you his last 4 chat messages. Prez 4-piece is the worst 4-piece set that has ever been released in WoW's history. It's bad in all caps. Be nad, spelling bad wrong, typing so fast. No, it's bad in all caps. I mean, it is pretty dog shit. But yeah, fucking, I wonder what class he plays. I love the passion, though. Hunters. Hunter tier set bonuses. Barbed Shot further increases your pet's attack speed by 5. Okay. Your pet's attacks have a 10% chance to increase all pet damage you deal by 10% for 10 seconds. Woo! Marks. Arcane Shot and Multi-Shot by 20. Consuming precise shots increases the damage your next aim shot by 10, stacking up to 2 times. Woo! Survival. Wildfire Bomb increased by 5. Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strike deal 10% increased damage to targets. Woohoo! Wow, these are so basic. Arcane Blast and Arcane Explosion. Okay. Casting Arcane Blast or Arcane Explosion has 10% chance to make your next Arcane Barrage deal 10% increased damage and generate 4 Arcane charges. Okay. Casting Arcane... That doesn't... Does that... No, I guess it can't stack. That one doesn't sound awful, right? The 10% increased damage is whatever. This is the 4 Arcane charges. That sounds really good, right? Doesn't it also encourage weaving? You can basically, if you don't want to press Arcane Barrage, you could... I kind of like that. You can, like, double Barrage sometimes. This is one of the cooler ones. Oh, who would have guessed, chat? Dude, okay, who's mad? I'm mad. I'll tell you what, I'm mad right now. We get to Mage. Oh, weird. We read the first cool tier piece. Very, very weird. Dude, I hate wizards of all kinds. All of them. Priests, mages, warlocks. If you cast spells, wear funny little hats, get the fuck away from me, bro. All right, here we go. Fire mage thing. Phoenix Flames, damage increased by 10%. Yeah, that includes Harry Potter, by the way. Stay small, little guy. Nice glasses. This amount is... I'm wearing glasses, too. This amount is increased to 25% on its primary target, okay? Speaking of Phoenix Flames, this is random Growl slander, but I was watching Growl play Fire Mage, which was really entertaining, actually. But that dude doesn't like pressing Phoenix Flames ever. He presses the other buttons a lot, but that one specifically, he's got like a little weak ore package that shows when it's up. He doesn't press that shit ever, unless you're not supposed to. In which case, shout out Growl for doing it right. Let's go. All right, after dealing damage, Phoenix Flames has a 10% chance to return to you, refunding 1% of the cooldown on Phoenix Flames, and granting you... What? That has to be 1 second of cooldown. 1% of the cooldown of Phoenix Flames is 0.25 seconds? But only a 10% chance? That's fucking insane. Even 1 second is still bad. Like, that's really weird. Bro, these are like the... Guys, you guys are... This is even... Okay, this is boring like Season 1 Dragonflight. Some of these 4 pieces are the least powerful 4 pieces I've ever seen. Like, yeah, they were, in quotes, boring in Season 1 of Dragonflight, but they were still powerful. Some of them were really powerful. They were just easy to understand, and they didn't try to fuck with your kid at all. Some of these 4 pieces are like... Dude, I wonder if this is a philosophy thing with Blizzard. I wonder if they're taking power out of tier sets in general. Would that be good for the game? It'd be an interesting decision now that they've spent an entire expansion massively increasing the availability of tier set bonuses, right? Like, basically linearly, since they've come out, they've made them easier to obtain. But, like, let's just say... And I'm going to completely make this up. Let's say the average DPS 2 and 4 piece damage bonus is 13%, okay? Is the game better if 2 and 4 piece is 13% or like 5% or 10% or 8%? This is way lower than 13. But okay, I will say if the tier set bonuses are boring and they're only like 5% increases, that definitely begs the question of what's the fucking point, right? Why are tier sets good, right? Okay, it's a thing you can obtain in the patch to give you some power. That's fine. You could say that's borrowed power. So is all gear, right? But also, like, when tier is done well, like, guys, I could point you to a couple of tier sets in Dragonflight that were like fucking incredible, and they ended up getting baked into the class because they were so good. And like constantly cooking on class design every tier with tier creates that opportunity, right? So like I think that's objectively good for the game. Even if sometimes your tier misses, I think over the long term it's really healthy for the game for them to do that, right? But they're not doing that here. Again, maybe it's a season 1 thing. I'll ask them in an interview, but like, bro, these are insanely basic and more importantly, very weak. Like, it's as if they're very intentionally reducing the power of 4 pieces specifically. Like, 4 pieces are usually pretty lit, even if they're basic. Okay, let's continue. Monk. All right, this is my area. I'm a big monk guy right now. Blackout Kick and Keg Smash deal 20% additional damage, and Shuffle gives... Okay, so 3% passive DR, which is very similar to like the Blood Decay passive DR, but it looks like they're just going to get a little bit more value out of the 2-piece though. Blackout Kick increases your damage dealt by 1% for 15 seconds. Stacking up to 3, it has a chance to... Blackout Kick increases your damage done by 1% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 3. So you're going to maintain a 3% damage increase. And has a chance to reset the cooldown of Keg Smash and make its next cast cost no energy. That's good. And would feel nice, too, I think. Depends on how often it procs. But, like, the numbers here are very low. That's actually one of the nicer ones, I think, in general. Like, compared to the rest of them. Skip Frost Mage. I don't know. Okay, let's... Ice Lance damage increased by 5%, and Finger Frost increase the damage of next Frozen Orb by 10, stacking up to 10 times. Wait, that's good. At least that's like, I like the idea. Like, oh, I mean, the Ice Lance damage, whatever... for a 2-piece, but like having fat orbs feels fun. Although orb is never really about the frozen orb damage, but okay. And then frozen orb increases Ice Lance's damage by 15% for 15 seconds. Okay, so your orb window is going to be fat. Enveloping Mist and Renewing Mist increased by 10. This is, man, they all sound the same. Vivify extends the duration of Renewing Mist and Enveloping Mist on its primary target by 2 seconds up to 4. That sounds bad. But also healer stuff, so who knows? Dude, this is so funny. In chat, someone says barf, and then they said Mistweaver solid, and then someone else said stinky, and then someone else said big. Polar opposites. Okay, Windwalker. Tiger Palm increases the damage of your next melee ability by 5%. Okay, fuck yeah. Your other melee abilities increase the damage of your next Tiger Palm by 25%, stacking up to 6 times. 15% of Tiger Palm's damage is dealt onto nearby enemies, reduced beyond 5 targets. So like totally passive, right? Like you're not gonna spam Tiger Palm, right? It's just like Tiger Palms get more value. There's also an interesting talent for this in the... So Con of the Celestials busts your Tiger Palm a few times, I think, or is that Shadow Pan? One of them just gives you like Tiger Palm damage somewhere. I don't remember where it is. But also there's a talent. Where the fuck? Let me just type. Here we go. Blackout Kick increases the damage of your next Tiger Palm by 10%, stacking up to 12 times. So like there's talents here that interact with that. This might end up being not even that bad with all those things included. I haven't thought about putting them together, but it's certainly not cool. You know, like no one's trying to do damage with Tiger Palm out here, but yeah, they also buff Tiger Palm's base damage by a lot. I'll fuck with this on the beta today. Just really weird. But I mean, the thing is like, if you're like I don't know, I care about Windwalker more than a lot of other specs, Windwalker and Ret right now. I've just read a bunch of other bonuses and like 2 of them have seemed cooler than this. So I don't know what you'd really be expecting, you know, like they're all just kind of whatever. And this certainly is also whatever. Okay, Paladins. Holy Shock's healing is increased by 10% and its cooldown reduced by 10. Holy Shock increases the initial healing of your next Word of Glory or Light of Dawn by 8%, stacking up to 4 times. 10% CDR is pretty weak. This is also going to be... So Word of Glory is also with different talents, right? Isn't this... It's also Eternal Flame, right? So you could have some fat hots on people. Oh, wait, I guess it's initial healing. Oh, so the hot doesn't work. Whatever. Prot. Shield of the Righteous deals 10% increased damage and grants 3%. Wow, they're just straight up, like, homogenizing the fuck out of these, man. Hey, tanks, all of your 2 pieces means you take 3% less damage. Just straight up. With like a little bit of damage with it too. Except for blood decays for some reason. Casting a holy power ability increases the damage and healing of your next avenging wrath by 0.5%. Casting a holy power ability increases the damage and the healing you deal during your next avenging wrath by 0.5%. Stacks into how many? So like infinite? Well, that's actually interesting. So let's just say like your next wings is like 30% stronger or something. Well, that would mean you would have to spend 60 holy power finishers. That's not going to work, right? In 2 minutes. I don't know. I'm just thinking like, I mean, just moving some power into your cooldowns is actually no shot you're holding wings for this buff. No, of course not. It's, isn't it 1 minute? I have no idea how long your wings are for Holy Paladin, but basically this 4 set just means that by playing the game passively, your cooldowns are going to be stronger on Paladin. Max, look up new Wowhead post. No, I'm going to finish this one and then I'll look at the other ones after. Rhett. Blade of Justice damage increased by 15% and Wake of Ashes damage increased by 10. Wake of Ashes increases your damage done by 10% for 8 seconds. Okay, so not a powerful 4-piece, but this is going to feel good because the build I like playing right now is the one where Wake of Ashes gives you wings. So you always have like a shitload of damage in that 8 seconds. But certainly going to be overall a very weak 4-piece numbers-wise. Also, the amount of power in Wake is so crazy. Priest. Why does it look like this? Font diff. We're getting font diffed right now. Disc Priest. Atonement healing increased by 5%. Refresh? No. Atonement healing increased by 5%. Okay. Smite and Penance increase the damage of your next Mind Blast by 25%, or the absorb amount of your next Power Word Shield by 15%, stacking up to 3 times. I think the overall power of this is probably a little low, but the gameplay of it sounds not bad. Holy. Serendipity is 10% more effective. Don't know what that means. Do not tell me either. Heal, Flash Heal, and Prayer of Healing have a 50% chance to cast again at 35% effectiveness. Wow. The duration of Devouring Plague is increased by 1 second, and the Devouring Plague increases your damage done by 2% for 10 seconds. Multiple applications may overlap. So I'm assuming the extra second of Devouring Plague is also just like a Devouring Plague damage increase. I don't know how long it normally is. But I mean, if you're spamming DPs, that's going to be a nice little window. It also helps your mastery value uptime. All right, cool. One of the nicer ones, it seems. Rogue bonuses. Ass. When your bleeds deal damage, they have a chance to grant you Vile Tincture, increasing your poison damage by 1% per stack, up to 10 stacks. So you might get 10% poison damage, which is a decent amount of your damage. For piece, while you have 5 or more stacks of Vile Tincture, Garrote Rupture and Crimson Tempest deal 10% additional damage. So basically all the time, your dots will do 10% more damage. Dog check. What the dog doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Reptar? What was he doing, chat? Was he doing crazy dog stuff? Hi, little Reppy. He was trying to grab something on the window. All right, well, he's really cute, so I forgave him already. Outlaw. Your Sinister Strike, Pistol Shot, and Ambush have a 20% chance to Ethereal Rampage, dealing 15% increased damage as Shadow. So 20% of the time, your Sinister Strike, Pistol Shot, and Ambush will do 15% more damage, and it'll also be Shadow damage. Okay? Dude, I like how like I just look at like chat reaction and someone just goes boring, as if like literally every single one of them isn't boring on purpose, but like we're waiting for them to get to their class just so they can be like boring. They're fucking all boring. Okay. Ethereal Rampage additionally increases the damage to your next between the eyes by 6%, stacking up to 3 times. Okay, so just like passive damage basically. Boring. Sub 2-piece. Your Symbols of Death increase the damage of your next Secret Technique by 20%. Wow, these words. I don't know what these mean. Secret Technique increases the damage of your other finishing moves by 16% for 7 seconds. Oh, that sounds somewhat interesting. I don't know what the fuck Secret Technique is, but you can do like 2 other finishers in 7 seconds and you'll do pretty good damage with that. What is it? It's an AoE finisher. Boring. That's the point. It's a secret. Yeah. Woo. Shaman. Let's go. I'm hyped for Shaman. Let's go. I wonder if they're going to be boring. LE Blast and Earthshock damage increased by 25%. Earthquake damage increased by 25%. Let's go. Boring. Spending Maelstrom grants you 5% increased crit chance and 10% increased crit damage dealt. Wait. Like as a buff, or specifically that Maelstrom spender will have 5% increased crit chance? I think it's a buff on you, which means that it'll probably be 100% uptime. So you'll just straight up get 5% crit and 10% increased crit dam. 5% crit is better than, literally alone is better than like almost all of the 4 pieces we've read. So that's really good. The 10% crit damage dealt is whatever, but boring. Max, we have guaranteed grits on LVB. I hate when people who main classes make acronyms for no fucking reason and just say them to other people on purpose. Yeah, I know it means lava burst. Just like fucking say that though. Boring. Okay, so let's go to enhanced, baby. Storm Strike, Lava Lash, Ice Strike, and Crash Lightning deal 15% increased damage. Actually not bad. Boring. And 4-piece is Feral Spirits last 100% longer. Wait, that's good. That's really good, right? Is my brain working good right now? I'm pretty sure that's very strong. Like, really strong. Boring. Isn't there one... Is it either Stormbringer or Totemic that spawns another dog? I'm pretty sure it's Stormbringer. It gives you a dog somewhere. All right, guys, I don't know exactly where it's going to be, but in this tree somewhere, you get a dog when you press this button. Here we go. Tempest summons a natural feral spirit until canceled, which will last twice as long. And all these dog talents are actually pretty good, so that's really good, man. I like this. This is my favorite one so far. Boring. Resto, Tidal Waves increases the healing of effective spells by 10%, and Tidal Waves is 80% more effective and reduces the mana cost of effective spells by 8%. That sounds dookie. Okay, never mind. Someone said really strong Resto Shaman tier set. I know nothing about healers, man. Absolutely nothing. It's crazy. You know what's funny, man? I flame healers all the time, mostly for existing. But the few times that I've actually played healer, I've actually had a lot of fun. Malefic Rapture... I don't know what any Warlock buttons mean. Increased by 5% and critical strike chance increased by 10%. Okay, I do know what Malefic Rapture means. I'm pretty sure Malefic Rapture not working through the shrouds are the reason we didn't run, and I'm not making this up, 6 Affliction locks for Sired and Aetherius World first, and we would have done P2 by just having the Warlocks dot all 4 of them with Absolute Corruption, never go to any platform, and they would passively kill them by the end of Tier 2, or by the end of P2. But apparently Malefic Rapture didn't do damage through the little shrouds that surrounded them, so we didn't do that. THD was very proud of this idea, and it didn't work. Malefic Rapture has a chance to increase damage dealt by your Agony, Corruption, and Unstable Affliction by 15% for 8 seconds. Okay, see, stuff like this, little damage windows, you can get a little bit of damage out, but, like, are either Agony, Corruption, or UA... Is UA a spender still, or is that no longer the case? Is that, like, old Affliction? They're just dots? Well... Okay, so they're just dots, and I'm going to ask this while acknowledging that I have actually seen the Kalamazi screenshot, where apparently Affliction Warlock, at least after its most recent rework, this is what their damage meter looked like. So, Shadow Bolt. But, yeah, that's tough. But I have been saying for a long time I wish dot classes actually did good dot damage. So if this is going to be... If you have a bunch of multi-dots out, your dots are going to be doing more damage, right? Woo! 15% more if nothing, apparently. Woo, 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 woo. Your primary demon deals 5% increased damage, and your Shadow Bolt damage is increased by 50. Oh, no. 4-piece. Shadow Bolt has a chance to enrage your primary Felguard. Bro, man. Now, let me just say that this tier might be really fun and good. And powerful. All that stuff. Every good thing. It might fucking, like, solve homelessness or something. It might just do everything, right? But if you put filler spells in your tier... and incentivize filler spells, everyone's always going to be mad. Also boring. Warlock Destro. Incinerate crit increased by 20%. Conflag crit increased by 25%. Wow. When Conflag crits, your fire damage is increased by 5% for 6 seconds. Woo! Yes! Now that is probably the worst one I've read all day. Holy fuck, that's bad. Stay small, Warlocks, by the way. Imagine casting things. Like, dude, do you guys ever think about this when you play WoW and you play a caster? Like, imagine you're LARPing, right? Which, I don't know if you guys know what LARPing means, but, like, people get, like, foam swords and shit, and they go outside and fight like they're doing some MMO type shit, but IRL. It goes kind of hard, but it also goes very not hard at the same time. But, like, just imagine when you're out there wearing some chainmail and swinging some giant sword around. Like, you're a huge fucking beast, right? But imagine you're like, fireball, fireball. Like, that's how I picture you guys who play wizards in WoW, is you're just, like, fucking running around your house casting, like, Chaos Bolt. Like that. Like someone, like, turns the corner in the hallway and you're there already pre-casting a spell, and that's exactly what you fucking sound like too. Stay small, by the way. Here we go. Warrior. Mortal Strike and Cleave increases the damage of your next Overpower by 10%. Let's go. When Overpower has its cooldown reset by Tactician, your next Mortal Strike or Cleave has its damage increased by 10%. Its critical strike chance increased by 10%, stacking up to 2 times. Your next Mortal Strike... I don't know. Boring. Bloodthirst in Ruined Harbinger Crest. Earned for... Why am I reading this? Wait, is it because it's written differently than the rest of them? Yes. Okay, okay, is it just increases the damage of your next rampage by 10%? What the fuck is this? Is that what it is? Is it just that simple? Is it the weekly cap? Is that the thing? Refresh the page? No. When Raging Blow resets its own cooldown, the damage of your next Bloodthirst is increased by 10%. Let's fucking go. When your Shield Slam cooldown is reset by Strategist, you gain Expert Strategist, increasing the damage of Shield Slam and reducing all damage taken by 3% for 6 seconds. That's gonna have less uptime than all of the other tank bonuses where they passively get 3% reduced DR. Oh yeah, let's bark. Let's just yell, right? I mean, All right, we're back. Shield Slam crits increase the damage dealt by Thunderclap and Revenge by 10% for 8 seconds. Yeah. So overall, the tier bonuses are kind of tough. I'm really interested as to. I just want to hear an interview answer to. What made you guys do the like Dragonflight Season 1 philosophy in this expansion without the class and spec trees? And the answer can't just be, well, hero talents are new, because that's just not... Guys, hero talents and class and spec... Here's how hard, like truly, here's how hard it is to make class and spec trees. Ready? It's like fucking insane. That's how hard it is. Hero talent trees are like fucking piss in comparison. Like nothing, right? Easy as fuck. As far as like tuning and balance and understanding them is concerned. Bro, when we killed Razageth, we talked to Ian and Morgan, and on an interview they said, yeah, our bad. Like they said we tuned the AoE phases for AoE builds of Razageth, and we tuned the boss damage for single target builds. Fucking, well, you can't do that. Like, you can't have both of those at the same time, you know? Like, that was the first end boss. Like, they were, it was a lot, right? It was a huge undertaking. Like, this is nothing like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really interested. It's certainly boring, but also larger conversation. Wow, we're gonna have such a good podcast this week. Shout out to Potty C. Is it a good thing for the game for tier sets to, in general, just be less impactful and less of a source of your power? They've historically been like 13 to 15% as far as DPS are concerned forever. I think that seems like a fair number. If you're talking 5%, that's like, why does this exist? And I strongly stand with tier should exist. I will fight anyone I will die on the hill that tier should exist in this game. It is just a free opportunity for them to be creative with class design. And a lot of any great things they come up with can just be put into the game. This game saw less innovation in that way when they removed tier for a few expansions. So I strongly believe it's... But, like, what are you actually... Okay, so, like, my thing with the boring tier bonuses is, what are we even fucking doing here? You know? Like, if you're not potentially adding something like this to the class in the future, I actually think the value of tier goes down significantly. It's like, what are we even fucking doing here? I just don't know why there would be basic-ass tier. Some people said to, like, make it easier for new players to understand. Maybe that's part of it. Like, I think the new player experience is difficult in this game. A lot of it is, like, you know, when you hit max level, you have, like, a million different quests, and you don't really know where to go, except at the beginning of the expansion, actually. And, like, playing the classes. But, like, the thing is, like, if you're learning how to play your class in WoW, like, it's like tier doesn't make it a lot harder, just changes it. And if you're learning WoW for the first time, you would just learn the tier version. And if you've played for the whole season and you're worrying about how that changes next season, you've already kind of figured out most of it, right? It'd be easy to change one thing. What is it, Max? I think they want the hero talents to be the feature, and they want tier sets to take a back seat for Season 1. Okay, so you're starting the expansion. They want you... okay. So... You're loading into a raid, you're loading into a dungeon. They want your decision-making to largely surround how your hero talent is going to affect that piece of content, rather than thinking about not only your hero talent affecting that piece of content, but also how your tier interacts with both of those things. Okay, I kind of fuck with that. That's smart. What you just said, all right, you just changed my whole mind. I think that is a good outlook to have on it. That makes a lot of sense. And maybe that's the answer they'll give. I can't wait to... I want to ask them about that. Dude, chat's so smart. That was from Twitch chat, by the way. YouTube chat would never come up with something like that, right? Fucking Gunfish Someone's first and last name in YouTube is Gunfish, and they're saying unironic good takes too. You can't just have the name Gunfish and just be saying non-meme things. What the fuck? That's an insane name.